America loves its rankings. सब में ranking होता है. Best college, best school, best degree. There is also a ranking for best places to live. I kid you not, I'm one of those places जहाँ पे मैं अपना door of the house में छोड़ के बाहर जाऊँ walk पे. I can leave my door unlocked and I can go and I'm not saying I do this often, but by mistake if I did it.
I urge you to
It's
do it every
perfectly
day.
fine. 25 minutes दूर, less than 30 minutes away. You're gone from a murder capital of the country, which is worse than Honduras, to one of the richest places in the entire country. And I think that is the perspective I wanted to give to the everyone in the audience is कि when you look at USA and you say कि यार ये तो murder है, यार पे तो gun capital है, यहाँ पे there's a lot of homelessness. All of it is true, but America is so diverse and so widely spread out. Like India, जैसे हम बोलते हैं, there is when you have Gurgaon and then you have Mewat, which is what 30 minutes away, where the violence happened.
Yeah.
It's the same logic. Francisco is your left photo. There is a district called Tenderloin District, which is very close to downtown, and that's where all the homelessness population lives. 30 minutes away, I kid you not, 30 minutes away, there is this place called Atherton. Have you heard of the city?
Of course.
It's the richest city in the entire USA.
Yes.
It's where the millionaires live. So your point here is, बड़े शहरों में यहाँ पे quality of life is not that great. Why? Just talked about it. There's high crime, there's high cost of living, unaffordable housing. That's why you don't have any big city in this one. There's no Dallas, there's no Bay Area, there's no New York. And that's because they don't offer the quality of life what you want from a city. And so मेरे को तो Indian खाना चाहिए. I need to watch my Rajnikant movie, The Jailer.
Obviously.
Okay? Absolutely perfect. Absolutely, I get it. The perfect spot for Indians, is usually that mid-sized metro. When I say mid-sized metro, in this, then you have suburbs of a bigger city. When I said suburbs, I just talked matters in USA. A few miles from squalor is a McMansion quality of life. And just like India, and that's why I find a lot of resemblance with India and USA here, education is so critical. Education brings corporate development, brings companies, gives industry, brings you to the next level from a middle income to the tier. A good example is Charlotte. Saurav, did you know Charlotte is the second biggest banking center after New York City? Charlotte is also, by the way, the capital of the headquarters of Bank of America and the eastern headquarters of Wells Fargo. Used to be Wachovia, Wells Fargo bought it. All banks have big offices in Charlotte. So your financial services is big there. The other one, Des Moines. Des Moines is the insurance capital of the world. Well, that's an acronym because all major insurance companies are headquartered in Des Moines. I have been privileged enough to see close to 29 states, been on the both sides of the coast and been on the middle of entire middle America. So I have Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning to all. We are back again after a gap of 2 weeks. So we all had our work commitments, but the Kautilya Podcast is back here. And we wanted to bring up a new topic. So before we start our topic, I thought we'd introduce ourselves for anyone who's not seen. After our last video, I thank everyone who has seen the video. Appreciate all the likes and comments we got in our last video on the US immigration. So really thank you for that. We're really three people in three different parts of the world, sitting in India, US, and Norway, airing and voicing our opinions and thoughts, giving that non-mainstream perspective and try to look at facts and figures and data and use that to lend a perspective to current affair topics. So with that having said, we thought we'll bring a new topic for today. Looking at our last topic of the US immigration, I felt there was this conversations in the comments, or generally the narrative was, oh, my country is the best, India is the best. oh no, there are better countries in India. So I thought हमें लगा कि क्यों ना एक we could do a quality of life comparison between our countries where we live, so India, US, and Norway, and just give users and our audience perspective ki how is life here, or what is good quality of life here? How do they compare here? A couple of disclaimers: we are not here to say one country is better than other country. Every country has its pros and cons. That's my own personal belief that no country is perfect. Um, so you have to take the good things of each country, or you have to take all the nice things of each region. Our focus is really, while we are catering to our middle class audience and to the audience who want to leave India and immigrate to other parts of the world, that's probably where our target segment is. Because and no politician or celebrity is going to leave India. They're doing really, really well. And no person who's at the below the poverty line is going to leave India or say, I want to look at other countries and compare ki kaisa hai yahan pe life, because they get their own, benefits and schemes from the current government, the yojanas and everything. So really the focus is for the Indians who are trying to leave India and saying ki kahan jana hai. Oh, how does it work? How does it look like? And it's just that giving that perspective. Um, take it what you hear, and hope you will get to learn something very interesting from all of us today. आपने मुंबई में रहते हो, middle class person हो, you realized you are a very good, smart, intelligent, want to make a mark into the world. You are hamstrung by what the tax you get, what the quality of life you're getting back in terms of कि यार हमें कुछ मिलता नहीं है वापस for the tax I pay. You're unhappy with the pollution. You're unhappy with commute, unhappy with generally the quality of life in Mumbai, let's say. I mean, I'm taking you as an example in Mumbai. And say आपने डिसाइड किया कि यार मुझे छोड़ना है इंडिया और मुझे आना है यूएसए. हमने पिछले वीडियो में हमने बात करी थी कि डोंट कम टू यूएसए बिकॉज इंडियन इमिग्रेशन और इंडियंस इमिग्रेशन इज बैड. But you said, okay, I don't care. I'll come. I want to study because it's the best country to work. Study. It's the best country to work. I get a lot of money. Well, how is the life here in this part of the world? And I thought I'll give you that perspective ki ye kaisa hai. Let me just share my screen. And so I thought I take up a different lens on it here. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one of the things which I have seen after, and I'm now living here in this country now almost close to 7 years. So this is now my de facto home outside India. So I have been privileged enough to see close to 29 states, been on the both sides of the coast and been on the middle of entire middle America. So I have been blessed enough to see all the changes here on all the different aspects of the country here. And so I was able to pull out the data, and I also was able to share my own personal experiences having seen some of that here. So one of the things which I looked at is the first thing a realtor here looks at it is America loves its rankings. सब में ranking होता है. Best college, best school, best degree. There is also a ranking for best places to live. US news, and I was looking at this one. This is the most widely used ranking. So I'll say this is a disclaimer that rankings is not the entire D world and all. It just gives a perspective here, and that is my whole goal here. What is the perspective from an American lens here? So when I was looking at the US news ranking, I think it's tried to do as much as its job. And again, I understand some of it is survey based, some of it is data points, but it gives you at least a lens of what it is. So जब मैंने ये देखा, whole idea was they're looking at a common man point of view. They're saying कि on an average day-to-day basis in a metro area, how is your life? And they're looking at factors like quality, healthcare, quality of education, commute time, crime, all the things we just talked about India. हमने crime की भी बात भी नहीं करी India की. In leaving that aside, we all talked about the other aspects. So what they did was they actually used certain elements of it from a measurement point. एक था quality of life index. तो इन्होंने क्या measure किया? Crime, education, day-to-day well-being. Are you happy? Are you comfortable? For your kids, for your family, you're looking, mental health, physical health, आपकी happiness अच्छी है. Commuter index. How does it look like getting to your work or going to a place? Availability of healthcare, all the things we just talked about. How far is the hospital? Quality of air, और natural hazards. So अभी आजकल यहाँ पे वाइल्ड फायर आता है, यहाँ पे हरिकेन्स आता है, tornadoes आता है. How does that all look into that aspect of it? Then they looked at the value index, which is all about housing. रहने का क्या सीन है? How's your affordability looking like? How's the price parity, the amount of money you earn versus the amount of housing you look at it? Then they have something called a desirability index, which is looking at this is a survey here. Are people wanting to be here? Do they want to move from one place to other? How's the weather there? This is all the aspects which come into the aspect of it. And then they have something called establishment of population ratio key and other things. An average person would look like, the restaurants kaise hain, daru ke theke kaise hain, shops kaise hain, the business establishments and the population. Are there more of that? Can I go to the mall? All of that is lumped under the desirability index. And then you came up with a job market index key. Are there jobs? Is there a low unemployment? Are there industries? How is the salary? Can I make money enough? And then that's all of these factors got combined together. And then it came like a best places to live and a retire sort of a ranking. They've been doing it for almost 20, 25 years. I will say that it gives a good perspective. And when I looked at the ranking, I am actually living in one of the places. So I can actually vouch that the ranking closely mirrors to an average daily human being because I feel where I'm living the same aspect of it, what the ranking was trying to convey. So it's not that it's not biased or it's not completely wrong. Probably the reality lies somewhere in between. I think that's a good midpoint for us to look into the system of it. When I looked into it, Anant and Saurav, and I dissected the data, it's amazing how much world knows so little about America. And I think when you see the places, it'll shock you. And I thought, and that is what I wanted to convey this year. These are the best 25 places to live in America this year per the ranking by an average person, for an average person to do a very good quality of life. Do you recognize how many of you recognize the places? The number one is Green Bay, Wisconsin. You have Huntsville, Alabama, Boulder, Sarasota, Colorado Springs, Melbourne, Jacksonville, Des Moines. Saurav and Anand, the question to you is of that 25 list, आपको कितना पता है कि यार ये सिटी भी है?
Probably not a lot unless you
Maybe
have
few
really
of
went
them.
for the. Yeah.
And Saurav, I think you may even know because India में ये बात ही नहीं करते हैं. No one's going to talk. We all talk New York and Chicago. You don't see a New York. You don't see a Chicago. You don't see a DC, Dallas. You don't see LA.
I mean, all that I know is Wisconsin is famous for its hills and mountain lands. So possibly their population is more than human population.
Yeah.
So
What
that's
I
all I know.
did. So what I did was, and this I made this chart here. I was looking at not only US news, also looking at the population data. I was also looking at the geographical data ki nearest metro kya hai, the big city we all know in India. And then I also dug deep ki inke what is there ki yahan pe log jana chahte hain, rehna chahte hain. So if you look at it, I want to give I'll spend couple of minutes on this chart and I'll go to the next slide to give a different perspective of what people think. If you look at Green Bay or a Huntsville, Alabama is a population of 491,000. So it's less than half a lakh. मतलब Indian population को देंगे कि 5 lakh. Nearest population is Nashville, and I also mapped the distance. If you look at it, कि कितना दूर है from a major metro. It's probably 110 miles, a 2 hours drive sort of a scenario. Not many people know, but Huntsville is one of the big locations for NASA. Huntsville has a lot of US military and US army installations. A lot of biotech companies have made a research there. Why? Because Huntsville is also the campus location for University of Alabama Huntsville flagship location. So certain segments of biomedical, biotech, aerospace engineering is very good in southern USA in Huntsville. So there is a localized economy which makes people say कि यार जॉब अच्छा है मिल जाएगा हमें पैसे अच्छे मिलेंगे have a good quality of life in general and all of the factors where I it's kind of listed on the quality of life looking at all the factors it ended up being ranked too. I've highlighted one in green and I'll tell you because this is a personal experience. I live in the rank city number 10, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Fayetteville is मैं जहाँ रहता हूँ it's probably 15 minutes away. It's 7 miles away. So it's 10 kilometers. So it's like Habshiguda in Hyderabad to Secunderabad. Exactly the same distance. How much time I would take to go to Secunderabad in Hyderabad. Fayetteville is known for the whole metro area, the Northwest Arkansas जो बोलते हैं. It's known for Walmart because it's the headquarters of Walmart. Also Tyson, another Fortune 100 company. It's also the college town because it's also the flagship campus of University of Arkansas system. The biggest university, the main university, is in Fayetteville. Population is around 5 lakhs again, and Kansas City is the kind of the biggest metro. I can vouch for this. जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ ना, it's a hidden gem among the people who kind of know the place. You got trails, you got a good quality of life. It takes me 20 minutes to go to the office. If you had a good job, you probably can you buy your house reasonably easily, nothing crazy there. Generally a good quality of life in general कि आपको सारा मिल जाएगा, restaurants मिल जाएंगे, खाने का मिल जाएगा, day to day life, whatever you need for your grocery, you get it done. Sure, is it perfect? शायद थोड़ी शायद एयरपोर्ट शायद छोटा है, but it's got connectivity to all the major cities in USA. तो ऐसा भी नहीं है कि आपको connection नहीं मिल रहा है. All the things I just talked here in the previous slide here are all taken care of. Sorry, all the things we just talked here around crime, around day-to-day well-being. I kid you not, I'm one of those places जहाँ पे मैं अपना door of the house में छोड़ के बाहर जाऊँ walk पे. I can leave my door unlocked and I can go, and I'm not saying I do this often, but by mistake if I did it.
I urge you to
It's
do it every
perfectly
day.
fine. I can try that every day, but essentially, the weather is relatively temperate now. I mean, and that's why it's probably 10, because some months it can go a little bit, bad. Generally, a very well high quality of life you lead in some places. If you look at it, जब मैंने ये देखा, सब चीजें you either in Florida में you have like 5 cities. So you got Sarasota, जहाँ पे by the way a lot of beaches are there and resorts there. I know personally some Walmart high executive leaders who left Walmart, retired, bought their $1 million houses there. Population is 830,000. You are 3 million away from Tampa. Naples is another big city. Well, not a big city, it's a small city, big known for beaches and everything. But then you have Jacksonville, which is known for military and finance. And then you have Tampa, which has got a lot of Fortune 500 companies across the industries there. A lot of the things, when you look at it here, Anant and Saurav, one thing I found out was every city, none of them, the highest city, if you look at it from a population point of view, is 2.5 million. Charlotte in North Carolina. Charlotte is also because Charlotte is biggest finance center after New York City. No city has been, all the cities are your mid-sized metros. 5 lakh se 10 lakh ki population, 5 lakh se 15 lakh ki population. That's probably where you're kind of landing into it. Many of them have one or two major things going on. Either they are college towns, so you अच्छी education system chalti hai. So if there's education, there's research, there are companies, startups, or smaller companies trying to partner with students and with the research places. Or you have some sort of industry. Some places only have manufacturing and furniture. Some places have military. Some places have port. It's kind of spread across. So when I looked at it, it was a surprise for me that people only talk about America as, "Arey yaar, New York City, oh Chicago, oh Dallas, oh Houston, Bay Area." I think America is bigger than that. America is spread out, and that's why none of those cities made it. And I'll show you why in the next slide. That there is life beyond the bigger cities, and I think that is the lesson I wanted to give back to India. Is saying, go beyond Mumbai, go beyond Delhi. If you build that, that is where the future is. And I think this slide was perfectly illustrating some of the good places which are there are unknown to a common man. I thought I'd give you a perspective here कि लोग जब अमेरिका के बारे में बात करते हैं, ओ अमेरिका में तो क्राइम बहुत है, you all hear about murder capital, इतने सारा gun violence होता है. All true, by the way. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is made up. Everything happens. I thought I'd give you a perspective of one city, which is St. Louis. St. Louis is the murder capital of USA. Did you not? It is pretty dangerous. This is a slide.
And we have been there, and we have seen police cars everywhere, especially
that was Memphis, but it's exactly the same park.
Yeah, exactly. But
so
it's quite cool.
There is a neighborhood in St. Louis called Greaterville. The homicide rate, Joe, the homicide rate for the people who don't know, it's basically, you're killing the rate, the murder rate of it per 100,000 residents is 3 times higher than Honduras, which generally is regarded as one of the world's murder capital. And Anant, I know you've been there.
Yes. And it wasn't safe at all.
It wasn't safe. So Greater While, St. Louis is 3 times worse than Honduras. That's one of the images there around, the Greater Wall neighborhood, and then that part of the Central West. If you look at deep into this, population is 4,500. Fair enough, it's locality in the biggest city. Racial makeup, 95% Black, African American. Look at the median household income, $32,000. That's the income. And I've pointed out the map here. Anant, so if you know that green space and Anant and Saurav, that's your
Are
center.
you showing your slides? Like, we can't see your slides.
Oh,
Have you moved? Oh, are you? Yeah.
can you see it now? Were you
Yes,
able
we
to see
can.
this?
Couldn't see before. No.
Oh, were you able to see this?
Yes, now we can, but not before.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. So this was a slide I was telling about how many of people, the kind of cities you have in. None of the famous cities are in top 25.
Arey, all Indians will care about here is Indian community hai kya? Cricket
I am
khelne ke liye
coming
hai
to that. I am
hai?
gonna come.
Yeah, that's all they
mention the
care
community
about.
of the Indian aspect to it. So I want to give you
हाँ.
this perspective of St. Louis here. This
Indian
is
grocery
greater.
store है क्या बाजू में?
I'll come to that Indian grocery store one. So St. Louis is known to be the murder capital. और ये जो जगह है, which is very close to the city center, by the way, is the place in the St. Louis which has the high volume of crime. So if you look at it, the median household income is $32,000. Okay, great. I move. I am 25 minutes away from St. Louis, from that very own neighborhood, the same city of St. Louis. You got a place called Town and Country. There is a place called Country Acres. It is one of the richest zip codes in America. It is one of the richest. It is the richest zip code in St. Louis. It is one of the richest zip codes for a population about 10,000 in the entire USA. You look at the houses, that just gives you the stark contrast. What's the racial makeup? 90% white, 6% Asian. That's your, this thing. Median household income, $139,000. Converted in Indian rupees, I don't know how much that is. Probably 2 crore, I don't know. Probably close to that. One of the highest in the country. What was the distance between this and that? 15 miles.
Yeah,
30 kilometer dur. And I actually even did a Google map check on this. कि अगर आप drive कर रहे हो तो कितना time लगेगा? 25 minutes dur, less than 30 minutes away. You're gone from a murder capital of the country, which is worse than Honduras, to one of the richest places in the entire country. Most affluent regions of St. Louis. And I think that is the perspective I wanted to give to everyone in the audience is कि when you look at USA and you say कि यार ये तो murder है, यहाँ पे तो gun capital है, यहाँ पे there's a lot of homelessness. All of it is true, but America is so diverse and so widely spread out. Like India, जैसे हम बोलते हैं, there is when you have Gurgaon and then you have Mewat, which is 30 minutes away, where the violence happened.
Yeah.
It's the same logic. You have to have that perspective in
divided.
mind.
And very divided also. Look at the racial
And
makeup
very
of
divided. It's racially divided. All
affluent and the less affluent neighborhoods. 90%
look at it, 6% Asian.
90% white.
6% Asian. You know why? Because a lot of the fortune companies are very close by in southern part of it, and you want to live here, and you're 20 minutes away, you're in your office. I look at your perspective too. I got this one, which is San Francisco, because सबको लगा यार ये सेंट लुइस क्यों बोल रहा है, कहाँ है, कौन जाता है यहाँ पे, हमें तो बे एरिया जाना है, हमें तो गूगल पे काम करना है. I wanted to give you that perspective. This happens also in other parts of the country. Take you San Francisco. San Francisco, सबको पता है, is known for Bay Area. आपके Facebooks, Googles, whatnot are all there. But that's Bay Area, the entire region of 10 million people. Downtown San Francisco is your left photo. There is a district called Tenderloin District, which is very close to downtown. And that's where all the homelessness population lives. Predominantly, again, fentanyl overdose, all the things we heard, bad things about America is happening there. And
I think I have a theory there. I think all the Indians went to California and found out that it was not resembling India, so they made it India.
No, but that some of the population racial makeup is not just whites and Asians, it's also African Americans here, and again, lack of jobs. 30 minutes away, I kid you not, 30 minutes away, there is this place called Atherton. Have you heard of the city?
course.
It's the richest city in the entire USA.
Yes.
It's where the millionaires live. So your Chamath Palpatia, the guy of Allen lives here. Your VC capital, Howard Anderson lives here. All the Silicon Valley, VC venture cap, private equity guys, billionaires live here. This is the richest zip code in the entire USA, probably world, because this is the lifestyle. That house, by the way, is valued at $30 million. 30 minutes away, you have homelessness. That is America for you. It is divided. It is also very diversely, uniquely diverse, just like India. You cannot put it with the same prism ki yaar America bakwas hai. Just like you don't say India bakwas hai, because San Francisco ke Tenderloin district bakwas hai, but you go to Atherton, Silicon Valley is booming because you get to live that quality of lifestyle. The conclusion I wanted to give you, and this is what the perspective I wanted to give to the audience, was America now, it's divided into two aspects of it. There is a dominant places, of course, which is your East Coast and West Coast and your big cities, and then the Republican dominant, Middle America and smaller towns. Country is also subdivided. When you look at the list, and then this is the list I was talking about. Country is also divided. If you look at it, you have places like Melbourne, Florida, by the way, not Melbourne, Australia. It's famous for the Cape Canaveral, the NASA Kennedy Space Center, and also the beaches. Population at 600,000. And then you have a population college called Fort Collins, which is Colorado again. Colorado State University is based there. It's high tech. The population is 250,000. You also have a 2 million city of Raleigh, Durham, which is Research Triangle, where you've got three big universities: Duke, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, North Carolina State University. A lot of high tech companies, a lot of biotech companies are all headquartered there and big offices. That's a 2 million population city. What I'm trying to tell you here is country is so deep. There are layers to it which people have to understand. You have big metros, which is your New York, LA, Chicago. You have mid-sized metros, which is your Charlotte, Tampa, Raleigh. Where you have your suburbs. Bade cities ke suburbs hote hain, which is satellite cities. So Plano, Frisco are suburbs of Dallas. Naperville, Hoffman Estates are suburbs for Chicago. That's where people will live and commute to, Dallas or Chicago for their work. Then you have smaller metros, which is population is less than 1 million, like Des Moines, Iowa, like Sarasota, Florida. And then you've got small towns, which is metros, population is less than 5 lakhs, 500,000. You're like Boulder, Green Bay, Fayetteville, Arkansas is probably somewhere in between. Point here is, बड़े शहरों में यहाँ पे quality of life is not that great. Why? Just talked about it. There's high crime, there's high cost of living, unaffordable housing. That's why you don't have any big city in this one. There's no Dallas, there's no Bay Area, there's no New York. And that's because they don't offer the quality of life what you want from a city. And so my information to Indian audiences, don't just look at one city and say कि मुझे वहां जाना है. Open up your perspective and look at beyond New York, look at beyond LA. Yes, they have their own perks, but there are other places which can equally give you a good quality of life if you look at just around. Generally, and this is a very generic statement, obviously this can lead a little bit of a bias as well, but generally the best bang of buck, if you want to give आप tax pay करते हो, आपको पैसे मिलते हैं salary से, is always in smaller mid-sized metro college towns like Madison, Wisconsin, Ann Arbor, all of those places, small towns which I just talked about, and suburbs of a bigger city. So that's probably why you'll see a Huntsville or a Green Bay coming onto the top of it. Now, Anant, you asked a question. यार मेरे को तो Indian store चाहिए. No, मेरे को तो Indian खाना चाहिए. I need to watch my Rajnikant movie, The Jailer. Okay, absolutely perfect. Absolutely, I get it. The perfect spot for Indians. The perfect spot for Indians is usually that mid-sized metro. When I say mid-sized metro, in this list, I'm telling Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte. You're looking at Jacksonville, you're looking at Albany, New York, you're looking at Des Moines. All of these are mid-sized metros. Yes. And then you have suburbs of a bigger city. When I said suburbs, I just talked about. Plano is 30 minutes away from downtown Dallas. Decatur is around 30 minutes away from downtown Atlanta. Then you have Edison, which is like 30, 40 minutes or 45 minutes from New York City, or probably 50 minutes from New York City. Here you have all Indian food, Indian stores, you have access to healthcare, you will get your access to your Diwali festivals. You probably are able to manage all the things I just said about, quality of life with that Indianness. And so you get to do that perfect sweet spot in terms of lesser crime. You're away from all that, problems which I just talked about the bigger cities, but you get all the Indian flavors to it. So my
Exactly.
my point here is don't ignore a city and discard it if it's just high crimes. Like San Francisco is bad. Try going down to the Bay Area. St. Louis downtown is bad. Go outside. Suburb, the town and country is the place to live if you're in St. Louis. Neighborhood matters in USA. A few miles from squalor is a McMansion quality of life. And just like India, and that's why I find a lot of resemblance with India and USA here. Anant, Saurav, you said कि पूरा देश India is living in rural India, or your 60% is living outside your top 7 metros. Same thing with America. I was looking at it. जब मैंने ये list देखा, and when I saw it, and I found out the top 10 metros only account for 25% of this entire population of the country. So my answer to Indians is, next time you come to USA, go outside California, go outside New York, do a road trip. आपको एक अलग perspective मिलेगा. My learning for India is prioritize education, and you develop Bharat beyond the top cities.
Yes.
Look at the places here, man. You've got like all university towns here. Madison is University of Wisconsin, Madison. You have got another college town, Ann Arbor, which is University of Michigan. You got Albany, which has got the RPI and the SUNY, this thing. And then Syracuse is the college town of Syracuse and SUNY, State University of New York. And then Fort Collins is for Colorado State, and Fayetteville is University of Arkansas. Education is so critical. Education brings corporate development, brings companies, gives industry, brings you to the next level from a middle income to the tier income. China is already doing this today with number of universities already improving in the top rankings, not just from Shanghai and other places, but other cities in Shanghai. And I think the beauty of this is, and that's why I tell to world is, America शायद news में बहुत ही गलत perspective आता है, but America is so spread out, so widely this thing. Life is not in New York or in Bay Area. Life outside, you'll find great life in Naples, Sarasota, Colorado Springs. San Jose is, by the way, one good example, which is there in Silicon Valley. Knoxville, Tennessee, that's the University of Tennessee system. There is life outside there. Try to find smaller cities. You'll find Indian population, and that's the best for the both world for India.
Okay, you're becoming a visa consultant now.
Well, I wanted to give that perspective to the Indians.
So all in all, what Arvind is saying is, go to your slide on Atherton. So all Arvind is saying is, he's urging all Indians to move to Atherton, study hard, get a job at Facebook or Microsoft or one of these.
Unfortunately, that's not the true, right?
You have to buy a house in Atherton and make sure you in 10, 15 years, you make it a tenderloin. That's what he's saying.
No, I'm saying कि अगर आपने previous video देखा है, I said don't come to America. I never said don't come to America. If you come with the real expectations कि America permanent visit नहीं देगा और आप आना चाहते हो, these are the places you come here ताकि आप ऐसा घर भी खरीद सकते हो.
Those are the next targets. So he's already targeted Arkansas. The other states are up for grabs.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, but just one question, Arvind. So these 25 cities, maybe barring one or two that I can think of, but does it really fit the bill or fit the requirement of, let's say, an average Indian, or let's say a techie who's coming to Indian techie who's coming to US? Because majority of your financial institutions, okay, they are in the West, right? They're in the East.
Yeah, so I'll stop here and I'll give you that perspective here. If you look at number 3, Raleigh and Durham is the place where Duke, UNC, and NCSU is there. It's called Research Triangle Park, one of the biggest parks in the world.
But does it have?
Hold on.
But does it have? Okay.
It's the headquarters for SAS, IBM, all the major tech, and that's why I listed high tech companies. I didn't say the name of the companies. I put it the industries. All the companies in high tech, life sciences, biotech, biomedical are all listed here. If you look at Huntsville, Alabama has got a lot of biotech companies because that's University of Alabama is big into bio research. And if you look at the other one, which I have it here, I'm not going to talk about San Jose because that's Silicon Valley. A good example is Charlotte. Saurav, did you know Charlotte is the second biggest banking center after New York City? Charlotte is also, by the way, the capital of the headquarters of Bank of America and the eastern headquarters of Wells Fargo. Used to be Wachovia, Wells Fargo bought it. All banks have big offices in Charlotte. So your financial services is big there. The other one, Des Moines. Des Moines is the insurance capital of the world. Well, that's an acronym, because all major insurance companies are headquartered in Des Moines. So
these are
the industries are
clusters,
spread out.
So you usually have all major companies in a specific industry being clustered around each other. Again, these are basically for economies of scale. So for example, if you look at Minnesota, there are a lot of these medical device companies clustered around there. So again, it's all explained by the fact that it's easier for these firms to coordinate with each other if they are headquartered in one single location.
Yeah,
so that's
and
why
the
you have
industries are spread out. I mean, number 5, Hickory, I was reading about it. Hickory, North Carolina population is 365,000. Why is it? Why are people wanting to move there? There are jobs in fiber optic industry and data centers. Meta and Google have the biggest data centers in that part of the region in Hickory, North Carolina. And the beauty of it is 58 miles from Charlotte. So अगर आपको Indian store जाना है, you're probably 30 minutes away from an Indian store.
Do you know, until recently, you know this company Caterpillar, right? You must have seen it on all cranes and all heavy. Yeah. Until recently, it used to be headquartered in an obscure town called Peoria in Illinois. It's like a 3-4 hour drive away from Chicago. Very small town, but a major chunk of that town's population is employed by the company, including some of my own family members. So, you know,
I mean, and absolutely true, Anant. I mean, I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Northwest metro area. Majority are related to Walmart. Either it's Walmart, vendor. No, so the companies will drive the booming economy. So if a company has moved in, there are jobs created. I want to have a eat out. There's going to be a sushi restaurant coming in. I want to have American food. It's going to be an American restaurant coming in. I want to watch a game. There's going to be a stadium being built. I want to go and travel. There's going to be an airport built. This is how you industrialize and boom out. And my lesson to Indians is, we just talked about India, right? Yeah, why are we all focused only in Delhi, Bombay? You're already, the land is limited. Why would you want to concentrate everything in Delhi, Bombay? Go and develop
Bangalore.
Yeah, go and develop Jaipur. You should have companies in Jaipur, Jodhpur, Bikaner. So people will say, "Yaar, मेरे को Delhi, Bombay नहीं जाना है. मैं Bikaner में खुश हूँ. I get jobs, I get good quality of life. All the things you just talked is automatically happening because people are there, people are having jobs. So then you need schools. I will develop schools. You need colleges. I'll develop colleges in the state. This is the model which people should look into it. I'm not saying this is a perfect model. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying कि ये सारे perfect cities हैं. No, crime exists. But what I'm trying to say here is, people just get fixated कि यार USA means LA, USA means Chicago. Chicago is a crime place. South Chicago is known for one of its biggest crime. You go there, you get shot down. Southern part of Dallas is crime. All big cities have this problem. Urbanization leads to that because you're ghettoifying the locality here. Start developing broader places. It will take time, but look at it. None of the highest city is 2 million, 2.5 million, which in India would be a small metro. So essentially, this is the entire American system. Beautiful place. Go out and travel. You'll like it. All right, we'll end it here. Great conversation, guys. But I hope our audience you liked it. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share it with your friends and family. We're just starting here. There is so much we're going to talk about in the future. We are here to try and share our common man's view on the daily topics, trying to give you the perspective what mainstream media is today actually missing, giving that balanced view, giving the both sides of the view, giving the historical perspective. So please really like that video. It takes only 10 seconds. Please subscribe and please share. Thank you, everyone. We will talk again later.